Hello Saturnians! So, in my video about my magical garden, I showed you Jessica. She's an entity I created to help me in the rituals I perform in my garden, and some of you are curious about Jessica. So I'm here to explain to you how you can create your own garden servitor to take your magic to the next level. Now, I do have a video explaining how to create a servitor step by step, so I'll leave the link down below in the description box so that you can check out the step-by-step guide. Today's video is more specific about my garden servitor who assists me in my rituals and spells outdoors, and maybe you'll have some ideas about how to create your own. I'll try to keep it short and sweet. If you don't know what a servitor is an entity created by a witch or a magician to perform specific tasks. Servitors do not have a life of their own, they are an isolated aspect of the mind of the magician, so we're not dealing with an external being with free will. You could see servitors like programs or even apps. They function almost like artificial intelligence. You can create the body of the servitor yourself using clay or using any material really. In some cases, you don't even need to create a body. You only have to give your servitor an appearance and then visualize this appearance repeatedly during the creation process. I already explained this creation process in another video, so I'm not going into that here. But for garden servitors, I find it a good idea to actually have a concrete image. You can get a statue or an image that you like and then animate it using this technique, or you can make one yourself like I made Jessica. You can animate your garden gnomes if you want, or little angels, a frog, or whatever. It is important that the image is in accordance with the tasks though. So I do a lot of stuff in my garden. I collect moon water in nights of full moon. I charge my crystals. I make sun water. I meditate. I work with elementals. I make potions. I do tarot readings. So I created Jessica to boost everything that I do in my garden. Her specific tasks are to not allow intrusive energies and curious people in my magic circle, create an energy field in my circle so that energy never leaks, make sure that all rituals are completed, and this by default helps me with keeping my intuition sharp when I have people over for tarot readings in my garden. I also listed in her birth certificate that she should scan the energy of everyone that enters my circle and report the results back to me. Also, she should work with the elementals because over there I have my fairy house where I leave offerings to the elementals, and in turn they help me making potions and keeping my plants and my garden happy. The fairies also help me with my herbs and keeping harmful bugs away. So there is a cooperation going on here. Then I determined that she would receive energy from the moonlight and she would be rewarded with candles every time she did her job well. So whenever a spell is very successful, or whenever a tarot reading in my garden inside the circle is very eye-opening and intense, either for clients or myself, I reward Jessica with several candles. I also listed in her birth certificate that whenever I need her full potential, maybe there are some spells that require more effort or more energy. In these cases, I would walk around her 3 times clockwise. And in this case, I cannot forget to walk counterclockwise when the ritual is done, to free her from her duty. Also, I make sure I do not forget the reward later. As I said in my step-by-step guide, the basics of creating an entity is to give it a name, an appearance, a home, a list of tasks, a source of energy, and a reward. List everything in a birth certificate Then feed it until the chosen day. You have to choose a day for your servitor to come to life. And I always pick a day according to the position of the planets. Jessica was born on a Scorpio full moon because that was the best birth chart for her tasks. So she was a Taurus sun. It makes sense because she would stay in my garden helping me with natural forces. She would be surrounded by nature and plants. And as a Taurus sun, she would enjoy that. After a while, if you do everything right, and if you never forget the rewards, if you feed the servitor properly, you will notice that you can actually feel and sense your servitor working in the background, almost as if it had free will. As I said, one of her tasks is to keep curious people away, and I observe this phenomenon that when I have random people in my house, they approach the pentagram, they look at my fairy house, and they are really curious about it. And when they are about to step in, they hesitate for a moment and take a step back. So I know Jessica is doing her job. And here is the most beautiful thing about servitors. They do not have a life of their own. They are an isolated aspect of our psyche. We frame a part of ourselves and determine that this part of us will work on autopilot to help us get what we want. Our brain is such a beautiful, intricate device. It has several functions on autopilot. We can blink our eyes without having to command our eyes to blink. And this prevents our eyes from drying. Can you imagine the trouble if we had to be aware of our blinking? We wouldn't even be able to hold a conversation because we would have to stop to blink all the time. So, servitors are programmed like that. Our brain is capable of doing that. It has specific areas dedicated to make the body and the mind regulate themselves without us having to be aware of them all the time. And when we create a servitor, this is what we are doing. We are including these specific tasks in the to-do list of our minds. And because Jessica is not separate from me or from my mind, when I reward her, I am really rewarding my own mind. I am training it like a dog. When you want your dog to continue a good behavior, you give it a little treat and the dog will repeat it because, the dog wants the reward. And your brain is the same, your mind is the same. I prefer working with servitors because I'm not giving away power to other entities. I am making myself more powerful as a result of disciplining my own mind, training it like a dog. When you work with external entities, whether they are Guesha, angels, demons, spirits, guides, the power does not belong to you. It is external power. You don't know how to do that yourself at the end if you're giving your power away to external entities. So this is why I love servitors. I get what I want and the power comes back to me in the form of a disciplined mind. So instead of asking spirits to work on your behalf, make yourself work on your own behalf by creating very powerful servitors. And you will never have to ask for entities to help you ever again. This is true power. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.